Right now, there's someone half as talented as you building the life you dream about. While you're planning, they're doing. While you're perfecting, they're failing forward. The difference? They discovered the one thing you haven't. You're not lazy. You're trapped in what psychologists call the ambition paradox. And once you understand it, everything changes. Picture this. You have a vision board, a detailed 5-year plan. You've watched every productivity video, read every self-help book. You know exactly who you want to become. But here's the twist. Knowing what to do has made you do less, not more. You're suffering from what I call strategic procrastination. Your brain has convinced you that planning is progress, that research is action, that waiting for the perfect moment is wisdom. It's not. It's self-sabotage wearing a suit. So here's what's actually happening in your brain. Every time you imagine your future success, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical you get from actually achieving something. You're literally getting high on your own potential. Neuroscientists call this premature reward activation. Your brain can't tell the difference between vividly imagining success and actually working toward it, so it rewards you either way. This is why you feel so motivated lying in bed at 2 a.m. planning your empire and so exhausted when it's time to send that first email. Your ambition isn't driving you forward, it's drugging you into stillness. But here's where it gets darker. Every day you don't act, you're not just standing still, you're training your brain that dreams are safer than reality, that fantasy is better than failure. You're building what psychologists call learned helplessness, but with a twist. You're not helpless, you're just addicted to the comfort of unlimited potential. There's a second layer most people miss. You've made ambitious but lazy part of your identity. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'm such a procrastinator," or "I work better under pressure," or "I'm just not a morning person"? Every time you say these things, you're not describing yourself, you're prescribing yourself. You're giving your brain permission to stay exactly where you are. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck discovered that the stories we tell about ourselves become self-fulfilling prophecies. When you say, "I'm lazy but ambitious," you're not being honest. You're being obedient to an outdated version of yourself. Here's the truth. You're not lazy. You're scared. And your brain has disguised that fear as personality. And let me guess, you're waiting for the right time, the right skills, the right resources, the right feeling. But right is a moving target your brain invented to keep you safe. Perfectionism isn't about high standards, it's about zero risk. It's your ego's way of protecting itself from the one thing it can't survive, being average at something new. Think about it. If you never start, you never fail. If you never fail, you never have to confront the gap between who you think you are and who you actually are right now. So you stay in the planning phase forever. Not because you're thorough, because you're terrified. And here's the cruelest part. While you're waiting to be ready, people less prepared than you are building the exact thing you're dreaming about. They're not smarter, they're not more talented, they're just more willing to suck at something temporarily. You're listening to this right now. Before this, maybe you listened to 3 others. You've got 47 tabs open about productivity. You've bookmarked 200 articles you'll read later. You're not learning anymore, you're hiding. Psychologists call this productive procrastination. It feels like progress because you're doing something related to your goals, but consumption without creation is just entertainment with a diploma. Here's a test. Close your eyes and count how many courses you've bought but never finished, how many books you've started but never applied, how many game-changing strategies you've learned but never implemented. That number? That's not your potential. That's your graveyard of good intentions. The uncomfortable truth? You don't need more information. You need more courage. You don't need another strategy. You need to execute the one you already know. Knowledge without action isn't power. It's just expensive distraction. Let's continue with the motivation myth. You're waiting to feel motivated, to feel ready, to feel inspired. But here's the truth. Motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. Harvard researcher Sean Achor found our brains actually work backwards. We think the sequence is, I'll feel motivated, then I'll act, then I'll succeed. The actual sequence is, I'll act, then I'll feel motivated,
Then I'll succeed. Motivation isn't the spark, it's the fire, and you build it, one small action at a time. Think about it. You don't feel like going to the gym, but you go anyway. 5 minutes in, you're energized. That's not willpower, that's physics. An object in motion stays in motion. Your brain doesn't reward intention, it rewards momentum. So stop waiting for the feeling, start creating the motion. Here's how you do it. The breakthrough, the 2-minute rebellion. Here's how you break free from that waiting game. Stop trying to change your life. Seriously, start changing your next 2 minutes. Not your year, not your day, just the next 120 seconds. Your brain can't resist something that small. It can resist write a book. It absolutely cannot resist write one sentence. Here's your new system. Step 1. Shrink the goal until it feels stupid. Don't launch a business. Open a Google Doc. Don't get in shape, do 5 push-ups. Step 2, do it before you can negotiate. Your brain will start to bargain. It'll say, let's do it after coffee, or let's just wait until Monday. Ignore that voice. It's just fear wearing a disguise. Step 3, celebrate the action, not the outcome. You didn't write a masterpiece? Doesn't matter. You wrote. That's the win. You're building the identity of someone who acts. An identity is built through repetition, not through results. Now for the next level, the environment hack. Your willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. Your environment, however, does not. Stop trying to be disciplined in a room that is fundamentally designed for distraction. Instead, make the right thing easy. You want to read more? Put the book on your pillow. You can't miss it. Want to exercise in the morning? Sleep in your workout clothes. And just as important, make the wrong thing hard. Delete the social media apps from your phone. Put your phone in another room entirely when you need to work. You're building a world where the default option is progress. Discipline isn't about fighting temptation, it's about not even seeing it in the first place. Let's talk about the big one, the failure reframe. You're afraid of failing, I get it, but you're already failing, you're just failing in advance. Every single day you don't try is a day you fail by default. At least if you try and fail, you get data. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Inaction is. Failure means you're in the arena. Inaction means you're in the stands, just pretending you could have played. The people you admire, they have failed more times than you have even tried. They just didn't let failure define their worth. They failed forward. You're just failing in place. This leads to the self-compassion secret. When you slip up, and you will, do not spiral into shame. Self-compassion is a better predictor of long-term success than self-discipline. Why? Because shame makes you hide. Compassion makes you try again. When you mess up, don't say, I'm such a failure. Say, okay, that didn't work. What will I try next? You're not broken, you're learning. And learning requires repetition, not perfection. So here's the final truth. Here's what it all comes down to. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not missing some secret ingredient that everyone else has. You're just stuck in a pattern, and patterns can be rewritten. But here's the catch. It won't happen by listening to this. It won't happen by feeling inspired for a moment. It will only happen when you close this screen and do one small thing. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because the person you want to become, they're not waiting for permission. They're not waiting for the perfect conditions. They're not waiting at all. They're building. Badly, imperfectly, probably scared, but they're building. And that is the only difference between you and them. So here's my challenge to you. Before you listen to another podcast, before you scroll another feed, before you plan another thing, do one thing. Send one email. Write one paragraph. Do one rep. Prove to yourself that you're not the person you've been. You're the person you're becoming. And that person, they don't wait. They start.